after Mayor Silkwood became mayor, he appointed the board, our committee members for the history committee. I think there was less than 10 people in May, and we had our first meeting in June. There was, I think, 8 or 9 people there. You attended briefly for a little bit, and he introduced and talked about some things with us, and we had our first meeting in May, and ever since then, we have just been growing. As of today, we have 28 members already in just 4 or 5 months. So, and I will tell you also that every meeting we've had since then, we've had at least 19 or more members
that show up.
That show up, yes. So it's a lot of them are husband and wife. A lot of them are employees. We have a lot of citizens that have. We put an ad in the newsletter, our first newsletter that went out we do 2 a year, and the newsletter in August we put out, and we got a lot of great response. We were hoping to get donations as well, which we have had some trickle in from that article, but more was the members that we've gotten. A lot of people's interested in the history. So, a lot of time, like at our meetings, we have a show and tell. Somebody always has something new that they have brought in and they want to talk about. They even bring people that come in and tell stories, and it's a fun night. We have a good time. We meet once a month, and it's on the 4th Monday of every month at 6:30. We started out in council chambers, but outgrew that because there just wasn't enough table space. So we're downstairs in the Vital Service Building where we have tables and chairs and a lot more room. So we've talked about different things on fundraisers because we are going to need some funds. If not everybody wants to donate everything. A lot of people want to sell it. We also have been buying some things on eBay. So if anybody sees any good stuff with these Alton, let us know. So we have bought some few things. One of the most interesting things, and I should have brought it for a show and tell, was an old milk carton from the Quality Dairy. Does anybody remember that? Where down there in Wilshire? Yep. Well, I used to go there when I was little for ice cream all the time. My mom and dad would take us there for ice cream. But anyway, that was one of the interesting things because I thought, who keeps milk cartons for all these years? But it's in perfect shape. And anyway, so another of the biggest things that
How much did it go for?
I think it's like 99, something like that. I know. Some of the stuff goes fairly cheap, but then you see these postcards that are on there and I've learned a lot about postcards. A lot of the postcards from back then were taken and were actual pictures. And so if it's an actual picture postcard, it brings a lot more money. We were trying to get I think somebody in East Alton must be a big collector that's not on the history committee because somebody just runs this stuff up and we just can't get it. I think the postcard ended up going for almost $40 for just a little bitty postcard. And it was of Church Street. So anyway, but this was our first fundraiser that we did. And we just got these calendars last week, so we're really excited about it. We got together and we picked out a lot of different pictures. I'll pass this around if you guys want to look at it. And it was all donated by businesses and the committee members that's on the history committee. And so the calendar was paid for 100%.
Are those for sale now?
They are, and they're $5 a piece, and I have some if you guys are interested and would like to buy one.
I'm just saying, we saw some at those things, the history ones tend to go at the because whatever museum always brings theirs in, so if you want me to put up something.
Oh, good. We have some locations that we've been putting them at, and they've been selling. Libraries already sold almost 30, I think.
That's wonderful.
So it's going really good. Speaking of the library has been really good about trying to help us out. Charlotte Wiegand, who's on the committee, she is on the library board, and they let her do a big display there, which was nice. And then they also have had up these little flyers and stuff that they've printed up, and we have all over town. So these are just mainly for, I'll pass these around this way too. Got some old pictures on there, and we're just trying to get the word out that we're seeking donations, and I mean, if anybody else is interested in joining. Does anybody remember Mr. Merle Rosenthal?
Yeah.
He was a history teacher at East Alton, and his wife has a basement full of stuff. He passed away when, had he even retired yet? Or he had just retired?
Just retired.
He was young 50s when he passed away, but his wife has a basement full of history, and every time she's excited about us finally going to have, our goal is to have a museum down the road. So we've outgrown my office. My office has stacks and stacks of stuff, but she has brought in a couple different boxes. And what Merle used to do is he would laminate everything. All these newspaper articles, he would laminate. But this, and this also, is this the same picture down there, right here? This is the Olin Corporation's office. This was their very first office. And Mr. Franklin Olin is sitting here on the steps. This picture here, you guys can, I'll pass it around, but here is the office building right here. The train tracks go by there, and that is how Franklin Olin, used to be called the Big Four Railroad, and right across from BL Manufacturing is where the train station used to be. And Franklin Olin was going through town, and that's how he found where he wanted to have his location of the Olin Corporation. Olin Corporation have donated these pictures. This is their first plant that they had. But I thought this was a pretty neat little article that tells about that. I can also pass this around too. Does anyone remember Gasoline Alley? I don't remember Gasoline Alley, but Gasoline Alley was on St. Louis Avenue, and there was gas station after gas station. And we do have a good picture in our calendar of the Gasoline Alley, which was a station back in the 1930s.
I'm sorry.
Whereabouts on St. Louis Avenue was it?
I'm sorry. Guys here doing an inspection on the sprinkler system, so if you guys hear an alarm, don't worry about it. I don't know how loud it is. I've never been here when he's done it, but if you hear an alarm, don't worry about it. Just stay seated, and he's just checking them out, okay?
Okay, thanks, Debbie. Yes, Gasoline Alley was on St. Louis Avenue. Did somebody?
Yeah, whereabouts on St. Louis Avenue?
From the way I understand it, it was East and West St. Louis Avenue. There was just gas station after gas station. And that was in the 30s and the 40s mainly. This is the Van Prater dry goods store. This was in the horse and buggy days. This was owned by, we had a, before Mayor Kiesler, our mayor was Charlie Van Prater, and this was his family. Anybody that, the name Van Prater comes up a lot. We still have 2 residents that, okay, Roger's telling me I got 5 minutes left. Anyway, the Van Praters, we still have 2 that live in town, and he's actually came in and donated some things. So he's going through some stuff and getting some more together. This was another picture that he had found that was Mr. Van Prater up here in the corner. And then the last picture that I brought for the show and tell is the village board. Gosh, this was back when Van Prater, Mayor Van Prater was mayor. We still have this table. It's the old council table. We still have it. It's downstairs in the Vital Service Building. And we recently found out that the chairs that sit around this, someone in town bought them at an auction, and they bought them, so she's donating them. As soon as we get our building, she's donating these chairs back to us. So it's just neat how you find all these different memorabilia. Let's see if I'm missing anything else. We also plan to have more fundraising. Jason Brinker, and who's a member, and Mr. Chartrian, who's the librarian at East Alton Library, they're working on a book. Have you guys ever been to Walgreens and you notice those history books on Wood River and Alton? You never see any of East Alton, but it has to be someone in your town that puts it together. So they're working on that, and you'll soon be seeing those hopefully next year. And we've got some t-shirts that we've put together and ordered. We've got all different colors that we're also gonna be selling. But our main goal is to have some money on hand and down the road, hopefully within the next year, have a museum like Wood River. Wood River's got a great museum, so if you haven't ever been there, go check it out. They have some really, really nice things.